Hi everybody, Martyn Flicking Feathers again today, and I'm tying a wee articulated craft for diver pattern. It's just a foam headed Dahlberg. Really simple, full movement, very effective, great for smallmouth bass, largemouth bass as well. You can use it freshwater, saltwater. It's an absolute fish catcher. Now, as always, I'll put a materials list in the description, along with a link to the Patreon page for anybody that wants to support this channel, which will get you entered into the giveaways for the flies tied on the channel. Alternatively, you can like the video, share the video, watch it all the way to the end. That will help the channel to grow. So, it's a doddle, it's dead easy. I'm starting off, I've got a 10mm shank in my vise, and I'm just going to start just using white thread. This is GSP, but use whatever you like really. And then obviously the GSP is very slick, so I've got a wee lick of super glue, and then I'll run back. Very slick. A wee bit more glue. Just build that up. Make sure you've got a nice secure base. You can see that's fine, my wee bit of sliding, but once you've got it built up, a nice bed, it's nice and secure. That will not go anywhere now. So the first thing I'm going to do is tie in the belly colour of the back section. We've got a bunch of white craft fur. We'll clean out the under fur, and then I'm just going to take the really long hairs and just draw them out and stack them back in. Just thickens up the taper a wee bit. And it gives you a bit of body without too much. So what I'm going to do, because it's quite awkward, I always find it a bit awkward coming in and tying in the underside of the shanks. What I do is I'm just going to take a couple of loose wraps, just push it down with my thumb until it's around, distribute it, and then you can take your thread back and it'll go where it's supposed to. Trim that as close as you can get it. Don't be too fussy, because you can come in, I like to just come in with my cautery tool and take away any that are left before I whip finish. I'll just come in, get that in at the cut ends, and you'll sort of push it back anyway. I'm going to add a wee bit of flash. What I like is, it's actually Palmer chenille, the long size Palmer chenille. Got a nice blend of like clear flash, pearl, and a wee bit of silver. And this is just the plain, the pearl or the white, whatever that colour, they call that colour. Trim it off the hide, or off the core I should say, and then stagger the ends. I'll come in, we'll see what we've got. Make it a wee bit better taper than that. Two or three wraps, spread that, and then I'm just going to fold it back and down, so it's on the belly side. Now, craft fur slick, I'm using GSP thread, which is slick, so a bit more super glue on my thread. Get that in there. And that can soak in. And I'm just going to use my hot tip. Just come in there. And you could leave that white. I'm going to put a back colour on it, but you could do them in all white if you wanted. I'm just going to use olive. It's just a plain olive extra select craft from Rainey's. And I'm going to do exactly the same, clean it out, realign the taper a wee bit, get it clean. Get that about the same length. Then just come in, 2 or 3 wraps. I like to flatten it on top. I'll just come in and trim that off. Again, bit of super glue. Does no harm. And then I'll just whip finish. And that's fine, that's solid. What you can do, and it makes for a very secure finish, I like it, if you put head cement, like your nail polish style head cement varnish onto that with the glue's not quite gone off, it'll give you a very, very durable finish. Right, I don't know what it is, how they react to each other, but they end up being very, very strong. So I'm just going to get some wire from articulation. I'm just using £20 wire. It's not. You could use nylon if you want, but I'm using the wire because it's no. I mean, it's not any different really. And I've got it sitting here, and it's, for the strength, it's nice and thin. And we got an orange bead. Got these big streamers beads, and just grab this, fold that over, and I like to take it out the vise and thread it. I know some people like to thread these beads. It's a black bead, I've left it. I lifted a black bead, but I wanted an orange one. So, as I say, I know some people like to tie it in and tie on one piece of the wire, then thread it, but I find it much easier to do it this way. Start the same thread, put a super glue in the shank first. Just again, this GSP, I mean, I'm envisaging this as a freshwater fly, so I don't mind the super glue. And basically, if you were tying it for saltwater, I would say don't use, I mean, I've said this before, don't use super glue. Right, it's not really saltwater safe. Right, now I've tied in, I've not really murdered it with tension, but I've tied in this first piece of wire, and then I'm going to sort of position it, and then to make sure it's straight, my loop's sort of turned towards you a wee bit. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist this top section, like the free end. I'm just going to turn it ever so slightly. I'm rolling it towards myself, and that'll turn that loop straight. Right, and then I can catch it in, and that'll lock that, turn that in there to the right position. and I want roughly a bead width behind. Right, I want behind the back of the bead, and that's not going to tangle up, and it will move freely. Now you don't need to fold it back or anything. Even if there was a hook on it, it would be fine. Just tied in like that, it's dead strong. I'm still going to take, I mean, as I say, there's no hook, but I'm still going to tie it in nice and tight, really lock it in. And then, before I start tying the rest of the body, I'm going to take my diver head. I just want to see roughly where it comes to. And what I actually like to do, I'll take my pen, because these heads are really hollow, I'll come in, got a wee red pen, and I'll mark back inside where my tie-in can finish, right, which is there. The back of the head's got to come to quite a bit further back than that. It's a normal rough zone, I don't want to go way in. I mean, you've actually got a bit of leeway with these that you wouldn't have with a popper, but still, you've got to kind of watch where things go. So, just got to carry on. Wee bit of super glue. Just come up, kind of soak some of that up. Wipe away the excess. And then I'm going to it's basically just repeat. I'm just going to repeat it twice. That's enough for this size of fly. Obviously, if you were tight, there's nothing stopping you going bigger. You could use a 20mm shank in the back and a 1/0 and a large size diver head. But I like these wee, I'm going to have like a 3-inch fly, 75mm, something like that. Which is a great size. You know, if you look at a lot of the conventional lures for bass, I know that like, the trend now is big, great giant flies a lot of the time, but the conventional lures that the guys are using for bass, there are some big ones, but there's also a lot of, the vast majority are in the 3-4 inch category, maybe even smaller, and there's a reason for that, right? It's because that's what works. So anyway, got to just come in with some more craft fur. Got to part my thread sort of between the point and the barb. It's easy to turn it upside down, and just got to offer this in. Two or three wraps. Make sure I don't want this coming up on top. And it's going to kind of cover the transition, right? And it still moves nice. Even the craft fur's not going to tangle up. Like, it's not going to impede it in any way. The craft fur's a great material for this kind of thing. Trim that away in the bin. And then I've got some more of my Palmer chenille. Put a wee tape on the ends. And again, I'll just offer this in, and I'm just going to let it roll around the shank. Right, I want some of that kind of on the belly, in the middle. Just draw everything back. There you've got a wee bit of flash in the belly, a wee bit of flash in the side. It's nice, it's quite subtle, which is what I like about it. You know, you just get that wee gleam, it looks really nice, like a baitfish belly. I'm going to take all of it, I'd like slightly more, right? Because I want to sort of thicken the fly up towards the front. So clean out the rubbish. And look, you can do it, and you can add different colours. You can add wee feather accents and all that if you like. It's up to you. Length. I don't want it being longer, right? I want it to be the same as the belly section for the transition, and it'll come back, say, about a third to halfway. What, 30%, 40%, something like that, into the tail section. Get that tied in, nice and secure. Just hit it with your thumbnail to make sure it's spread, and that wee bead will actually, it'll help to hold it open slightly. Gives you a wee bit of sort of appearance of volume. Again, super glue. And then the white craft fur again. Where it come right in at my this will be at the back of the foam head. Again, cleaning that white out the waist. I'm throwing that away. You can keep that for dubbing, it's great dubbing. But I mean, there's a limit to how much white craft for dubbing I can get through, so I don't keep it all the time. So just got to thicken this up a wee bit. Let's stub up the taper a bit by hand stacking it again. And the same thing, like halfway or so. And I'm going to add a bit more. I feel like I could just have it a bit thicker. Right, and this, I mean, you can always remember that you look at it and you go, it's not quite what I want. Change it, right? Don't just stick with it. I've tied it in, that's it, right? You can always adjust. Just restacking that, I've just got a kind of slightly skinnier bunch. I'm just going to put on here just to fill that up. And I want that all on the underside, right? See that? You can still see the red and my wee dot, which is the back of the head for the foam head. Now I'm just going to let my waist ends be a wee bit longer here. Cut them at an angle, because this is just going to give that popper head something to the glue to bind to. Right, tidy up. I can still see my red mark. I know that it's at this tie off anyway, so it's fine. Now, going to get some more of the Palmer chenille, and it's as much, I mean, it's up to you how flashy you want the fly, right? You could use a different material if you liked, to if you wanted something a bit more pop, like something like Polar Flash. I'm just going to let this come in. Again, I'm just going to sort of spread it. Reposition my thread first, put that back in. Again, 2 or 3 wraps, make sure it's in nice. Fold it back. like another bunch of olive. Again, I'm going to let the olive be thicker again. This will be the thickest bunch of, you know, it's the thickest amount of white and the thickest of olive. Grip it, clean it. Now you could even sort of reverse tie it if you wanted to try to get a bit more volume. Just let the diver head push it back. But I don't really, you know, I want it to be quite slim and minnowy. You know, I don't want it to be too bulky. So get that in again, just spread them on top. That's the back of your minnow. Now, you don't need to be fussy about that, right? If it's rough, it's actually good. It gives you a good surface, a gluing surface. I just want to check so a dry fit in my head, and that's no bad at that. So the last thing, just get a wee bit of red laser dub. Just a wee pinch is all you need. Just to get that throat impression. And I mean, it's totally unnecessary. You could easily just use a red marker. But fine. And I don't fold it back or anything, it's just, I'm just tying it in, trimming that away. And I'll just tidy up, yeah, kinda. And again, no too fussed about having it all neat. Quick whip finish. So, I mean, if I was tying like a big like sort of pike size or whatever, I'd probably use epoxy, but I'm going to use gel super glue for this. It's fine. It is strong enough. I'm going to get plenty on, right? And there's plenty to bond to, right? There's plenty of thread there. There's the material and all that's available for it to stick. And then I'm just going to push it back, and then just make sure it's straight. I just take it out of the vise and I just look straight at it. We squeeze, right, and then you can, if you want to, you can colour it in. I'm going to use a Copic marker, but if you use Copic, you have to coat it, right? Because it will just wash off. But the Copic light olive is a perfect match nearly for these the olive craft fur. And I mean, I'm not digging the airbrush kit out, but you can use the Copic airbrush kit as well, and it's nice, you know. But I think that's fine, just continuing the colour there. Eyes, up to you, but put a wee silver eye on it. I mean, you probably don't need the eye, to be honest, but I just like the look of it. So, get my eyes ready. Wee blob of glue. Get that stuck on. Same on your side. Just checking. There. Spot on. Now, as I say, it needs a coating, and I like to use liquid fusion, and then I stick it in the drying wheel. Oh! Earthquake. Not an earthquake, happened during the video for a while. So basically, what I come in, liquid fusion's great. Being an adhesive, it bonds to the head. It protects your eyes. It gives you a really nice coating, and it shrinks when it dries. It's self-leveling. You do need to put it. You know, you don't need to be super fussy about like getting a really smooth, even coating, because as I say, it will self-level over the next couple of hours. But you do need to put it on a drying wheel. But it's far better than UV resin. Right, UV resin will come off because it's not even flexible resin's not really flexible enough. Right, when a fish eats the foam, or eats the head, eats the fly, the foam deforms, bends, whatever, out of shape, and the resin just is this even flex resin won't flex enough, and it pops off. Whereas this stuff, it's very, very flexible, and it's obviously, it bonds to the head, right? It's not just sitting on top of it like the resin is. So that's that. You can thin this as well if you find it easier to work. I do cover bottle with thin stuff, but this is fine as it is. And you can see it's a wee bit kind of bumpy and rough there, but I've coated the whole head, and I'll stick that in the drying wheel, and that will smooth out, and it will give me a lovely finish. So there you go. I hope that was useful. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to give me a thumbs up below, and I'll see you for another one. Tight lines, guys. Bye.